An assumption of office as the executive governor of Rivers State, one of the stark realities that stared Right Honorable Chubeke Amechi in the face was the decaying state of infrastructure and abysmal poor academic performance of the Rivers State University of Science and Technology. The standard of education in the school so fell to a level that the university was on the verge of losing accreditation on almost all its programs in that year's evaluation by the National Universities Commission. The university didn't just fall short of the dreams of the founding fathers of providing scientific and technical manpower of various levels needed for essential development, but sank into the abyss of cultism, corruption, and other social vices on campus. Governor Amechi's frank assessment of the situation was a Rivers State University of Science and Technology that was dead and buried. It was in the face of this hopeless situation that Governor Amechi apparently went shopping for who he called a savior that was to resurrect the State University of Science and Technology, which at the time was not more than a glorified secondary school. In shopping for the new messiah, Governor Amechi disregarded ethnicity, threw aside political party affinity, and set out in search for a man of integrity and capacity to deliver. It was not too long into the search that the educational reform Professor Prof Fakaes was carrying out at the time as rector at the Rivers State Polytechnic Bori called attention to its help. Governor Amechi eventually found in Professor Fakaes a vice-chancellor that he would send on a rescue mission to the State University of Science and Technology.
Other vice-chancellors were appointed as vice-chancellors, but I was appointed as a vice-chancellor with a mandate. I still remember very, very clearly as he pulled me out of the seat that let's go, he said, okay, if you keep saying no, go on a mission for me and for the state, go and do a rescue mission. The mandate was to rescue the university from academic corruption and again the infrastructural decay, because the school was already having credibility problem.
You can see the change, you can see the environment. I'll give you a typical example. As a dean of my faculty, Faculty of Technical and Science Education, I was once a student of that faculty before I came in to be an academic staff. And all through my years here, I am aware that there was never a science laboratory for the science education students. But Professor Fakaes came in. And in 2008, within 2 months, we had a world-class laboratory.
What is obvious is that you can't compare what the finances were before he came in to what it is now. There has been a tremendous increase because the stress for internally generated revenue is obvious.
Professor Fakaes was yet to settle down to his new assignment when the raging waves of accusation and opposition blew in from those who were feeding fart on the corrupt old order that he was out to change. Undaunted and unrelenting, Professor Fakaes silently and stoically initiated his reform that has today relaunched the Rivers State University of Science and Technology into academic excellence.
Prior to this time, made it abundantly clear that people who protested against the administration of Professor Fakaes were absolutely misinformed, or they must have been instigated by others who do not like the administration of Fakaes, who do not like his administration for no just cause.
Professor Fakaes' first assignment was to fight to a standstill the bad eggs in the student population who at the time made cultism a religion to follow.
Before 2005, the rate of cultism was very, very high. And the average killing through violence and through cultism was averagely 25 every year. Every year, 25 students die in this campus. But from 2006 to early 2007, that means, let me say 2007, February 2007, I think we just recorded only 2. But from that March 2007 till date, nobody has died through cultism.
The real manure that can allow cultism to grow is corruption. Academic corruption, just ordinary corruption. As long as we take our studies serious and give children the mark they deserve, and make sure results come out on time, no sale of grades, no permission for exam malpractice, I am telling you, we are the teachers, we are the people in charge. The children who have come to learn will definitely learn.
Peace and normalcy having been restored on campus, Professor Fakaes settled down to work and soon gave the Rivers State University of Science and Technology a new look. From the gate to the hostels, classrooms to the offices, the university now has a facelift. Abandoned buildings were completed and new ones developed from scratch to finish. Faculties and departments that did not have befitting offices now do, as buildings keep springing up to meet the accommodation needs of the university. At a time Nigeria's development is slowed down by corruption, Professor Fakaes has proven himself a prudent and trustworthy administrator who turns out value from every kobo committed to his trust. This is practically demonstrated in the execution of the classroom complex committed to his trust by the management of the Education Trust Fund.
Since Professor Fakaes came on board in 2007, it has never been the same again. A lot of things have changed. There has been tremendous progress and development in several areas in this university. If you talk about infrastructure, I do not need to, you can see it yourself. If you go around, you see a lot of things. So many things have changed. Go to our buildings, they are looking very new because Fakaes, through his dynamism, has been able to transform this university infrastructurally.
In Nigeria's university system, the fear of the National Universities Commission (NUC) is the beginning of wisdom. The commission was to come a couple of months into the administration of Professor Fakaes to carry out its periodic accreditation exercise on programs run by the university. The accreditation exercise would have spelled Judgment Day for Nigeria's premier University of Science and Technology, which at the time had outlived its glory days. But to the amazement of the NUC, Professor Fakaes had worked wonders before its arrival. The university, instead of having its courses de-accredited, got the nod of the NUC to continue.
The USC has a clean bill of health as far as NUC is concerned. It was interesting that when they came on accreditation here, they left and went to other universities. And we were glad to hear the remarks to say, if you want to know how accreditation is done, go to UST in Port Harcourt. That really gladdened my heart.
In today's world, there is virtually no area of human endeavor that information and communication technology is not applicable. Its usage is so imperative that an education without it is said to be incomplete. Perhaps one of Professor Fakaes' most outstanding achievements as Vice Chancellor of the Rivers State University of Science and Technology is the incorporation of information and communication technology into the administration and operation of the university. Examinations, results, and studies are now done and available online. The Rivers State University of Science and Technology today is indisputably the foremost university in Nigeria.
And what did we have to do? Was just to put the university under a cloud of internet, that even people from Eagle Island were getting our services free. And from there, we did that and got people addicted. Then we insisted that lecturers should put on their own scores, into the computer by themselves. We had now to do all those things and introduce the slogan, learn computer by use of computer. By the time we did that, we synthesized the whole community, and then we started putting things together. But you would have heard about the problem you had in play school in 2009. It had to do with trying to get the data, because the university was running with a unit called exams and records, but no record inside. By the time we called for the records, using the standard the university has created, if you fail a course in the first year, you should repeat the course in the second year. But how can the child repeat the course in the second year when even in the third year, he or she wouldn't have known whether he or she failed the course?
We have brought in so much of electronic processing or determination of issues now. So the admission now is EEC. Students don't have so much problems. Registration is done online. Payment of fees is done online. So it makes life very, very easy. I think we're working to a situation where it will be a paperless thing. And of course, the thing about this e-thing is that you don't make any mistake retyping things and all that. What you come into the university with and is inputted in that place, nobody changes it. So in all areas of the administration of the university, I can say that we have made so much improvement.
UST cannot afford not to join the global phenomenon. We can boast of a standard electronic library. First and foremost, we have all that it takes to operate an efficient electronic library. We have a minimum of 30-35 computers in one section of the library that we actually designated as the electronic library. There we have all the electronic facilities, e-resources. We also have the facilities with which to use them.
It's well known that since the arrival of the present Vice Chancellor, Prof Fakaes, we've made great strides in ITC. Before his arrival, student population would not be ascertained at any time. The student population of this university would not be ascertained at any time. It was very, very difficult to, at any time T, to state the correct figure of students registered in the university.
Our post-UME exam is computer-based, and the computerization has made it easy for us to conduct this examination. The exam is orderly. Students get their results immediately after the exam.
The university, the world over, is known as a breeding ground for research and invention. However, due to the falling standards of education in Nigeria, the primary aim for the establishment of the university seems defeated, as fresh graduates are turned out without basic entrepreneurial skills needed for job creation and national development. To reverse the ugly trend, Professor Fakaes has put machinery in place to boost industrialization through manufacturing that meets international benchmark.
We have one of the best centers of excellence in terms of advanced manufacturing technology, and that is the one that is going to be unveiled very soon. When we now saw that NASENI, agency in the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, was also aiding to have centers of excellence, we decided to grab it, and they just gave us just a square place on the floor where we should do a building, like an open hall where they're going to bring equipment for us. But we went on to build a thing which was completely mini factory. Has the room for AutoCAD by its side, the computer rooms, you have that again supported by the solar system that has just been, solar panels that have been donated to us. But we think that from that place, people will understand that production engineering is possible, We already have signed an agreement with SEDI in Enugu, and our own project is that we are going to produce the first made in Nigeria engine.
When the laboratory is commissioned, we will expect that the laboratory will manufacture engine components that we now import from outside the country. This is not the type you say is American made or about made. This is international, world standard. We are not talking of, look, there's this interchangeability of parts. It's already an international agreed method of manufacturing. Whatever we manufacture here should fit in to similar machines in the US, in Japan. And we are not talking of manufacturing just using Nigeria. We are expecting to manufacture world standard equipment that can also be exported to other countries in the world, not just to African countries.
Port Harcourt is a Tosa city. Companies, they have equipment parts that are difficult to come by. If you can get hold of that part, you bring it down here, you take the dimensions, and then we log into our software. We design it. We design that part. We design that part, and then after we are done the programming, we take it to our machines, and then we can reproduce that very part and give it to the customer.
The welfare of students and staff that was before now a cause for concern has received a boost, so much that there is a general contentment with the administration of Professor Fakaes. The hostess now wear a new look befitting for human habitation. So are the offices conducive and equipped with the necessary tools for enhanced efficiency.
In the last 1 year, precisely, Health Services Department has received a big boost here on campus. Today, we have a functional Health Services Department with most of our facilities now extensively renovated, and also fairly adequate funding that we can say we have now. Most of the requests that we make, either for drugs, for equipment, for reagents, receive the prompt attention of the Vice Chancellor.
Our laboratories we now have in our university, you go to food science and technology, you go to animal science, you go to crop science. I'm just mentioning the biological science, which I can really say that they pass NAFDAC approval, if I have to say, as quality labs. If you come into the workshops, you see that we have enough machines, and a lot of our own machines have computer interface. We're able to produce, to put a welfare package where, you know, lecturers are having a revolving loan, which is, you know, call it almost interest-free, where they can talk about salary advance or rent advance, as it were. We do that. We also have the one that is for vehicle loan. They are doing that again. That one is also revolving. And you see, welfare actually also has to do with your environment where you work. I was making fun, I said, I'm finding it interesting. My staff, those who did not have fans in their offices, are asking for air conditioners.
Today, because of the high level of transparency and prudence, Professor Fakaes has brought into the administration of the Rivers State University of Science and Technology, corporate organizations are queuing to partner the school in the promotion of scholarship. It was in this regard that the Rivers State Sustainable Development Agency entered into an agreement with the university to institute a professorial chair in the Faculty of Agriculture and sponsor students of the state origin in the faculty.
The MOU that we are about to sign this morning assumes, for me, very special significance Because this will be our agency's first partnership of this kind with an academic institution. And as the Vice Chancellor very eloquently presented, we very carefully chose this university. When we go, as I gave you the names of the organizations that we partner with, so you can see that we don't simply open our doors to anybody who wants partnership. I can tell you that we have a lot more than these who knock on our doors. And that's why our choice of UST for this partnership was very carefully decided.
The Professor Fakaes administration would surely go down in history as one that brought about several innovations in the running of the Rivers State University of Science and Technology. In the area of student governance, the administration has made it mandatory for any student aspiring for any position in the ESCO to have a minimum cumulative grade point aggregate of 3.5 in an effort to bring vibrancy into student journalism. It is now a policy that at every matriculation, the best performing Year 1 student in each of the 7 faculties of the university is given an award of a brand new laptop computer and e-books, all geared towards inculcating the reading culture and healthy competition among students. The traditional orientation program for fresh students on admission into the university is now improved upon, as video CDs of the ceremony are given out to enable students assimilate the tenets of the university at their spare times. Knowledge is dynamic, and its frontiers keep changing at a speed that makes it imperative for those whose job is to teach others to regularly go for refresher courses. Professor Fakaes, in realization and appreciation of these dynamics, organized a training workshop to enhance the capacity of the university's academic staff.
Nowadays, if you find analog lecturers, they find it difficult to teach the e-children as we describe them, because the children are internet friendly, and we are wanting to expose our lecturers that way. Because of that, we leave our computer center open, and we also design a program to make sure that all our lecturers get exposed to ICT.
Agriculture is one of the 7 faculties of the Rivers State University of Science and Technology. Unfortunately, and sad too, the school cannot boast of a standard fish farm, even when it is in Rivers, a state that is known for fishing. Today, the administration of Professor Fakaes is undertaking the construction of a standard fish pond that will not only serve as a facility for scholarship, but also provide for the nutritional needs of those on campus and the immediate environs.
We now decided to go ahead to give agriculture, that should be the first thing, a real boost. And that's why we have a brand new faculty building, and the fish pond is coming because we eat fish. We're in Rivers State. If we do not have the best department of fisheries, no other place you have there, which is not just going to be for the university. It's going to be a place you will study how the fish go. And interestingly, the social aspect is that you also have the place there, the bigger pond there. You can point, and kill, and then take the thing away.
Once a filthy campus like the adjoining My3 Motor Park, notorious for littering and heaping of refuse, the Rivers State University of Science and Technology is now a classic example of a clean and green environment conducive for learning. Gradually but steadily, with each milestone solidly set, the Professor Fakaes administration is growing the Rivers State University of Science and Technology from scratch into a sporting champion by way of funding, moral support, and provision of facilities.
2008 Nuga Games in Nsuka. Out of 64 universities that took part in the Nsuka Games, Rivers State University of Science and Technology came 15th position and won the star gold medal in 100 meters dash for females and 100 meters 4 by 100 meters relay for females.
in 2008.
Professor Fakaes' towering achievements so far would not have been possible without the unalloyed loyalty and support of his able team of principal officers, lecturers, and non-academic staff who dedicatedly and tirelessly translate the vision of the present administration into a reality.
I want to congratulate the Vice Chancellor for the good job he's doing, and I know he's being supported by the academic team and the registrars and the bursar.
Rivers State University of Science and Technology was the first state university. And by the time that was conceived by the founding fathers, it was not so different from when Archimedes' principle came out, that iron can float on water. And we said that was not possible. But today we can see the big ship floating on water. They thought Rivers State would not be able, or no state will be able to run a university. But Rivers State decided to now ask for permission to run not just a university, but a university of science and technology. That is actually the driving force, to say that since we were the first, definitely we have to stretch ourselves to world class.
That is the envisioned future Professor Fakaes is taking the Rivers State University of Science and Technology to, and maybe his tenure would also usher the school into its permanent site, which is one of Governor Chukwuemeka Amechi's cherished legacies he wants to bequeath to Rivers State and indeed Nigeria.